Sophia stood outside the interrogation room, heart pounding. Detective Brooks offered her an out, but she refused. She needed answers. Lydia sat handcuffed, looking older and defeated. "Why?" Sophia asked, voice breaking. Her mother met her eyes with a mix of regret and defiance. "We thought you were becoming a threat to everything we built. Harlan promised security. I never wanted it to go this far." Sophia's tears fell freely. "I was your daughter." The conversation left her shattered, but determined. Back in the briefing room, the team revealed the full scope of the corruption: government contracts, organized crime ties, and millions in dirty money, with her mother and stepfather in custody. The case moved toward trial, but would justice prevail, or would the powerful network find one final way to strike back at Sophia? Months of preparation led to the high-profile trial. The courtroom buzzed with tension as Sophia took her seat near the prosecutors. Victor, Rico, Harlan, and Lydia sat at the defense table, their faces a mix of arrogance and fear. The prosecutor laid out the evidence methodically: secret recordings, financial trails, and Sophia's testimony. When Victor's voice played planning her accident, the room went silent. Sophia stared directly at her husband. "You chose greed over our life together," she said during her testimony. Cross-examination was brutal, but she held firm. Lydia's testimony was heartbreaking. She claimed desperation, but offered no real remorse. The trial reached its climax with the sentencing. Would the judge deliver the justice Sophia fought so hard for, or would any of them walk free? The judge delivered the verdicts with solemn authority. Victor received 22 years for conspiracy to commit murder and money laundering. Rico got 27 years for his role in organized crime. Harlan Crow was sentenced to 32 years for corruption and conspiracy. Lydia received 12 years. Sophia felt a heavy mix of relief and sorrow as they were led away. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, but she walked past them in silence with Detective Brooks. "It's over," he said gently. "Not yet," Sophia replied. "I still have to rebuild." With the trial behind her, Sophia faced a new chapter. Could she truly move forward after losing her family and trust in everything she once believed? 6 months later, Sophia had left her old law firm and founded a nonprofit organization to support victims of domestic betrayal and financial abuse. The work gave her purpose. One quiet evening, she received a letter from prison, from her mother. Lydia expressed regret and asked for forgiveness she knew she didn't deserve. Sophia read it several times, then placed it in a drawer. She wasn't ready to forgive. But the hatred no longer consumed her, standing at her apartment window overlooking the city lights. Sophia felt something she hadn't in a long time. Peace. Sophia had survived the ultimate betrayal and emerged stronger. But her story of courage and justice continues to inspire others. What final lesson did she learn about trust, revenge, and starting over? In the weeks after the trial, Sophia threw herself into building her new foundation. Shadows to Strength, dedicated to helping women escape manipulative and dangerous relationships. The work was therapeutic. She spent long days reviewing applications from survivors, meeting with lawyers, and speaking at small support groups. One afternoon, Detective Alan Brooks stopped by her modest new office. "You've come a long way," he said, smiling. "Most people would have crumbled." Sophia looked out the window. "I almost did. But surviving that betrayal taught me I'm stronger than I knew." They discussed the final loose ends of the case. A few minor associates had been rounded up, but the network was effectively dismantled that night. Sophia reviewed old photos on her laptop, happier times with Victor, family gatherings with her mother and stepfather. Tears came, but they were quieter now, less bitter. She closed the folder and whispered, "I choose me now." Sophia was healing, but an unexpected message from prison would test her progress. Would she finally find closure, or would the past drag her back into darkness? The letter from her mother arrived on a rainy Tuesday. Lydia's handwriting was shaky. "Sophia, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I chose fear and greed over you. Every day I regret it. I hope you find the happiness I failed to give you. Love, Mom." Sophia read it 3 times, then folded it carefully. She wasn't ready to reply, but she no longer felt the burning rage. Instead, she felt pity for the broken woman her mother had become. At the Foundation's first major fundraiser, Sophia stood on stage in a simple black dress. Her voice was steady as she shared a carefully edited version of her story. The audience was moved to tears. Donations poured in. For the first time in over a year, Sophia smiled genuinely. Her public speech brought new attention and new danger. Someone from the old network was still watching. How would Sophia handle one final threat to her freedom? A mysterious threat arrived via anonymous email. "You took everything. We're not finished." Detective Brooks took it seriously and assigned protection. Sophia refused to hide. "I've lived in fear long enough." Together with the detective, they traced the message to a low-level associate trying to intimidate her. He was arrested quickly. During the confrontation at the station, Sophia looked the man in the eyes. "Tell your friends it's over. I'm not the same woman they tried to destroy." The incident strengthened her resolve. She expanded the Foundation's reach, partnering with women's shelters across the state. With the last threat neutralized, Sophia faced her biggest personal challenge yet, deciding whether to visit her mother in prison. Would she go, and what would she say? Sophia finally visited the federal prison. Lydia looked frail behind the glass. "I'm not here to forgive you yet," Sophia said quietly, "but I'm here to tell you I survived. I'm building something good from the ashes you left." Her mother cried, "I was weak. I'm proud of the woman you've become." The meeting was painful but necessary. Sophia left feeling lighter, as if a final chain had been broken. Back in the city, she took a walk along the river, breathing in the cool air. For the first time, the future felt wide open. Sophia had confronted her past. Now a new opportunity appeared, one that would take her story national and help thousands more. What bold step would she take next? A major network invited Sophia for an interview. She accepted, using the platform to expose how wealth and power can hide domestic abuse and betrayal. Her interview went viral. Messages flooded in from women across the country sharing their stories. The Foundation grew rapidly. One evening, Detective Brooks called. "You've done what most can't. You turned pain into purpose." Sophia smiled. Justice wasn't just about prison sentences. It was about taking my life back. She began writing a book about her experience, not for revenge, but for empowerment. As her influence grew, Sophia received one final letter from Victor. Would reading it reopen old wounds, or would it confirm she had truly won? Victor's letter was full of excuses and manipulation. Sophia read it once, then burned it in her fireplace. She no longer needed his words. She had her own voice now. The book launch was a success. At the event, she met other survivors who thanked her for giving them hope. One young woman hugged her tightly. "You showed me I could fight back." Sophia felt her heart heal a little more. With her book climbing the charts, Sophia stood at a crossroads. Would she return to corporate law, or dedicate her life fully to helping others? Sophia chose the Foundation. She expanded it into a national organization, offering legal aid, counseling, and safety planning. On the 1-year anniversary of Victor's arrest, she held a quiet ceremony at the river, where she had once stood broken. She released a single white rose into the water, a symbol of letting go. Detective Brooks joined her. "You're an inspiration, Sophia," she laughed softly. "I'm just a woman who refused to stay silent." Sophia's journey of betrayal, revenge, and rebirth was complete. But her greatest legacy was only beginning. What final message did she have for every woman facing darkness? Sophia stood on stage at a large women's empowerment conference. the audience hanging on every word. "I once thought love meant trust without question," she said. "But real strength is trusting yourself when everything falls apart. If you're listening and you're scared, you are not alone. Fight back. Build your own future." The standing ovation brought tears to her eyes. Later, looking at the city skyline from her apartment, Sophia felt complete peace. She had lost a husband, a mother, and her old life, but she had gained herself. Her story was no longer one of it was one of victory. Sophia Kane stepped out of the sleek glass tower of her prestigious downtown law firm, the evening Atlanta lights reflecting off the building like scattered diamonds. She had just secured another major corporate victory, one that would boost her reputation and bring a handsome bonus. Colleagues clapped her on the back, but the praise felt hollow. Inside, a growing unease gnawed at her. Lately, her husband Victor had become a stranger. Their once warm marriage had cooled into polite distance. That evening, Sophia arrived home earlier than usual to their elegant brownstone in a quiet Buckhead neighborhood. The lights were on, but the house felt too still. Victor's jacket lay draped over the sofa, a half-empty whiskey glass on the table. "Victor?" she called. From the kitchen came the sound of the fridge closing. He appeared impeccably dressed, hair neatly combed. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "You're home early," he said lightly, though his gaze seemed to study her. "I wrapped up the case ahead of schedule." "Thought we could have dinner together," Sophia replied, kicking off her heels. While Victor ordered takeout, she watched him carefully. The small lies, the unexplained absences, the distant look, they were piling up. During dinner, she tried to make conversation. "How's the lounge doing?" "Busy as always," he answered without looking up. People always need a place to celebrate. The evening ended in awkward silence. Later, while Victor slept, Sophia picked up his phone. She still remembered the passcode from better days. One message stood out from a contact labeled P, "All set for tomorrow. No mistakes." Her heart raced. What plan were they discussing? She quickly put the phone down when she heard footsteps. Victor paused in the doorway, still working. The tension in the air was thick. Sophia knew something was terribly wrong. That cryptic message was only the beginning. What Sophia discovered next would shatter everything she thought she knew about her husband. Stay tuned for the dangerous truth that was about to unfold. The following days blurred with suspicion. At a dinner with friends, Victor played the perfect husband, charming and attentive. But Sophia noticed how he avoided her eyes. Her best friend, Mia, pulled her aside in the restroom. "Sophia, you seem off. Everything okay at home?" "I'm just tired." Later, from the car, she watched Victor receive a thick envelope from one of the guests. On the drive home, his cold reply when she asked about it chilled her. "Club business. Nothing for you to worry about." That night, alone with her thoughts and a glass of wine, Sophia stared at the city skyline. Another message lit up Victor's phone. "Don't fail." Fear settled deep in her bones. She decided she needed proof. The next morning, Sophia contacted a discreet private investigator named Marcus Reed. They met at a quiet cafe. "I think my husband is planning something against me," she confessed. Marcus nodded gravely. "I'll dig deep, but prepare yourself. The truth can be ugly." A few days later, Marcus delivered his report. Photos of Victor meeting a dangerous-looking man named Rico Vance in a back alley. Rico had ties to organized crime, extortion, disappearances. Sophia's world tilted. Why would Victor meet someone like that? The photos confirmed her worst fears, but the real horror was still to come. When Sophia learned the full extent of Victor's plan, she knew she had to fight back, become his next victim. Sophia confronted Victor cautiously during dinner, testing the waters. His defensive reaction only heightened her alarm. Soon after, Marcus called with urgent news. Victor suspected he was being watched. Panic rising, Sophia went to the police. Detective Alan Brooks listened carefully as she laid out the evidence. "This is serious," he said. We'll need to build an airtight case. The police placed an informant named Leon inside Rico's circle. The recordings were devastating. Victor's cold voice, she doesn't suspect a thing. She's too trusting. Sophia listened in horror as they discussed making her disappear. To get a direct confession, the team devised a risky plan: stage a car accident and record Victor's reaction. Sophia agreed, despite the terror. The staged accident was about to unfold. Would Victor reveal his true colors, or would Sophia's dangerous gamble cost her everything? The trap was set. In a remote warehouse, makeup artists transformed Sophia into the victim of a brutal crash. She lay on the cold ground as hidden cameras rolled. Detective Brooks made the anonymous call to Victor. When Victor arrived, he didn't rush to her body. Instead, he muttered, "Looks like I didn't have to do anything after all." He smiled coldly and called Rico. "It's done. Even better than planned." Police swarmed in. Victor was arrested in shock. "This is a trap," he screamed as Sophia stood up, staring him down. "You did this to yourself," she said quietly. But as Victor was taken away, a voicemail from Rico played. "This isn't over." Victor was caught, but the conspiracy ran much deeper. Who else wanted Sophia gone? And how far would they go to silence her forever? The days following Victor's arrest passed in a blur of safe houses and police briefings. Sophia Kane sat in a dimly lit conference room at the precinct, surrounded by files and monitors. Detective Alan Brooks rubbed his temples as he reviewed the latest intelligence. Victor was just the tip of the iceberg. He said gravely, "Rico's network runs deeper. Your testimony could bring down several major players." Sophia's hands trembled slightly as she listened to more recordings. In one, Rico's mocking voice promised his associates that the problem would be eliminated permanently. The fear was real, but so was her growing resolve that evening. Alone in the sparse safe room, Sophia called her best friend Mia. "I feel like my entire life was a lie," she whispered into the phone. "You're stronger than all of them combined," Mia replied. "Don't let them break you." The next morning, Detective Brooks showed her a new recording from the informant Leon. Rico and his men were planning their next move to silence Sophia before she could testify. "They're not done with you," the detective warned. "This is bigger than your marriage. There are powerful people involved." Sophia stared at the screen, her jaw tightening. "Then we finish this. All of it." Sophia thought catching Victor was the end, but a shocking new name appeared in the evidence. Someone much closer to her than she ever imagined. Who was really pulling the strings behind the murder plot? The investigation took a devastating turn when the team uncovered links to a prominent businessman named Harlan Crow. Sophia froze when his photo appeared on the monitor. "Harlan, my stepfather," she whispered in disbelief. "He's connected through shady contracts and money laundering. And there's more, your mother Lydia is involved too." Sophia felt the room spin. The woman who raised her had helped plot her death. The recordings confirmed it. Lydia's cold voice, discussing how to handle her daughter if she became too dangerous. Rage and heartbreak warred inside Sophia. "They were supposed to protect me," she said bitterly. The team planned a raid on Harlan's mansion that very night. Sophia insisted on being nearby in a surveillance van. From the screens, she watched armed officers burst in. Harlan and Lydia were caught mid-argument, surrounded by incriminating documents. Harlan shouted as handcuffs clicked, "You have nothing on me." Lydia's face twisted in anger. Sophia turned away, unable to watch her mother being let out. The raid brought down 2 more conspirators, but Sophia's pain was far from over. Would she have the strength to face her own mother in the interrogation room?